Hi, my name is Dave Jeltema, and if you didn't know, I'm making a board game. I've been playing games all my life, and I've tried my hand at making a good handful over the last 10 years or so, which, as you can imagine, has led to some, let's call them, growth opportunities. And especially in this last year, as I'm diving deeper into making our game a reality, I've been doing a ton of research on how to make a successful board game, which means I've seen some other designers make some pretty obvious mistakes. I want to share with you the things that you really need to avoid. But they might not be obvious to you as you're juggling all the things, spinning all the plates while wearing all the hats. So let me pull back the curtain a bit and help you gain some perspective on your game. Don't do these things. I don't want to see you fail. Here are the 5 things that I see every bad board game designer doing, and each of these is solved by the #1 mistake you can make as a board game designer. Can you guess what it is? When you first start making a game, everything seems easier. You're inspired to try out a bunch of things and interested in seeing how some of your favorite mechanics across different games pair together. You imagine what your game would look like when all your components, cards, and art are all done. It's easy to get carried away and try all the things. Maybe you didn't realize that worker placement would work so well together with the map that you had in mind. And, oh, deck building is fun, and you always wanted to try class decks with unique talent boards. But then, a little later, you play a new game, and suddenly you want your map to be modular. And then after that, you play another new game, and instead of deck building, you want to try your hand at drafting. Later, you see a crowdfunding game take off, and you think your game needs to follow suit and have engine building. Do you see a trend? There's nothing wrong with being inspired and excited to try new things, but before you get too far in the process, you need to take some time to figure out what your game is actually going to be. One of the worst things you can do as a beginner tabletop designer is work on your project beyond when you should have figured out what your vision of the game is. Define your game's theme and concept. Try to identify a central theme for your game. What is the story or setting? What emotions or experiences do you want your players to feel or have? Create a game design document where you write down all your thoughts, ideas, and goals for your game. One thing I'm notorious for is getting defensive of a mechanic or system that I've come up with. Sometimes I'm so excited and proud of an idea that I've had that I'm quick to defend it. Because of course, I know what problem it's there to solve, and I have a good idea on how it works and how it could be cool. My darn brain can't formulate words in a coherent manner to explain ideas properly, so I end up talking about the idea in vague ways and only leave people more confused. This always seems to happen when someone else is trying to tell me that there is an unbalanced mechanic in my game. Again, it's easy to justify or even think of things as lesser evils, but if you take a second to put yourself in your player's shoes, you'll quickly realize that unbalanced mechanics can ruin your fun. Even the impression or feeling of imbalance can ruin the experience. So do what you can to temper that part of yourself. Listen to your players and make sure you reflect on each playtest and pay attention to the pain points that others bring up. It might feel like whack-a-mole, but remove unbalanced mechanics wherever you find them. The solution to this is linked to the worst mistake you can make as a board game designer, the #1 reason your game can fail. More on that soon. But first, I just wanted to stop real quick and say, thanks for watching my video. If you would take just a moment to hit that like button, then you would be helping me get one step closer to making my game a reality. That'd be pretty awesome of you. It also helps others like you find my content and learn how to avoid falling flat on their face. What is the easiest thing to spot? When you're playing a new game and learning all the rules, have you ever got the sense that this might be more of a challenge than you were expecting? But not because the game is hard. As you're playing, have you ever felt like things are needlessly convoluted and the way you expected things to play out isn't the obvious solution that you thought it'd be? Is it as easy for you to spot as it is for me? Have you ever played a game where you need to leave the rulebook open on the glossary or reference page just to play that game? When I'm playing games, the easiest thing to spot is overcomplicated rules. When you're designing your game, simplify wherever you can. Find ways to remove redundant mechanics and excessive rule exceptions or special cases. I'm not sure if this is the right term, but it seems to fit. Aim for elegance. It's the concept of 2 birds with 1 stone. Try to find solutions that fix multiple problems. Elegant solutions. By doing this, your game will eventually be a tight and focused experience. We're getting closer to the #1 worst mistake you can make. Have you figured it out yet? But before that, we need to talk about the least sexy or interesting thing about making a game. At least it is to me. Maybe this is your favorite part. This is similar to the first point about lacking clear vision, but more specific. This is one thing that can ruin your chance at making a great board game, and you might not realize it until it's too late. And it involves everyone's favorite, market research. I don't know why, but this seems to be the one thing I tend to avoid. Have you ever played a game and thought, yeah, that was fine, I guess I'd play it again, only to never find a reason to pull it back off the shelf? Games like those collect dust not because they're bad. In fact, most of them are very well designed and a treasure trove of great ideas to study. The real problem is that they're nothing special. Nothing was memorable or interesting about them. When I think about all of my favorite games, they're my favorite because of unique components or mechanics I've never seen before, or they have an element of spectacle that makes them great to show off to others. Be sure to consider market viability and differentiation. Without it, you can make a great game and still fail. And on to the biggest mistake you can make as a board game designer. This is your last chance to guess what it is. Feel free to pause the video and type your guess in the comments. No cheating. It might also be a good chance to hit that subscribe button while you're at it. The reason this is the absolute worst thing you can do as a board game designer is because it will solve all of the other issues I've touched upon already in this video. Do you know how to make a great board game? Surely it's as simple as following all the steps, checking all the boxes, having great art, and a good marketing push, right? But that wouldn't actually solve all the problems I've touched upon so far. So what can you do to actually make a great game? I harp on this quite often, so maybe it's no surprise, but you solve almost all of your problems through playtesting. So the number one cardinal sin of a board game designer is not playtesting your game enough. It will help you discover your lack of clear vision, notice and stamp out the unbalanced mechanics, find more elegant solutions to overcomplicated rules, and learn if your game has the potential to succeed. You need to playtest, and playtest some more. Play your game as often as you can, with as diverse a group of people as you can. Playtest, take notes, make changes, repeat. And if you're looking for a place to do just that, you can join our community of game designers and playtesters over at the Tabletop Craft Discord. The link to that is in this video's description. And now you know how important it is to playtest. And here's the best way to do it. This video shows you specifically the best way to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. Once again, my name is Dave Geltima. I better not see you doing any of these, and I'll see you in that video.